For a long time, Led Zeppelin's mythical bassist, John Paul Jones, remained tight-lipped, approximately the person who defined rock drumming, John Bonham. But now, in a stunning revelation, Jones is breaking his silence. What was Bonham definitely like at the back of the explosive drum solos and the wild, untamed energy? Was he the unstoppable pressure that held Zeppelin collectively? Or the ticking time bomb that caused its disintegration? Jones in the end unveils the reality, the highs, the struggles, and the untold moments that handiest he witnessed. Get ready for a rare, unfiltered look into the genius and chaos of John Bonham like by no means before. Few drummers in rock records have left as profound a mark as John Bonham. As the rhythmic backbone of Led Zeppelin, Bonham's thunderous drumming and technical prowess failed to simply power the band's sound. They redefined what a drummer can be. With fingers that hit like sledgehammers and feet that moved with gadget gun speed, Bonham became an unstoppable pressure. However, past his explosive performances on level, Bonham turned into also a deeply passionate musician, a committed own family guy, and as John Paul Jones puts it, a taking walks earthquake with a heart of gold. John Paul Jones, Zeppelin's bassist and keyboardist, has regularly been the quiet architect in the back of the band's sonic magic, overshadowed through the flowery swagger of Robert Plant and the mystical aura of Jimmy Page. But as Bonham's closest musical best friend within the rhythm phase, Jones knew the person behind the bombastic drum solos better than most, and permits just say, it turned into never boring. Bonzo did not simply play the drums, Jones currently shared, a wry smile creeping throughout his face. He attacked them like they owed him cash. Indeed, Bonham's playing fashion wasn't just powerful, it became bodily. He dealt with the drum kit like a residing respiration beast that had to be tamed nightly. But in spite of his raw intensity, Jones recollects Bonham as a person who will be both fiercely loyal and clearly hilarious. They're changed into never a dull second with Bonzo, Jones continued. One time throughout a recording session, he determined he wished thought, so naturally he set off a firecracker in the studio. The producer almost had a heart assault, however. Bonzo just grinned and said, "Now we are unsleeping." Yet underneath the wild antics, Bonham was a perfectionist. His determination to drumming changed into exceptional. He was in no way happy with simply being amazing. He desired to be the nice, Jones explained, and nicely he turned into Jones. Jones has remained pretty reserved approximately Bonham's passing. However, in this uncommon second of reflection, he stated the gaping hollow his friend left behind. We all knew he changed into special, but I do not assume even he realized how a whole lot he changed track all the time, Jones stated, pausing. Then, with a smirk, he delivered, and what number of eardrums he destroyed along the manner. John Paul Jones and John Bonham first crossed paths in the overdue 60s, when Jimmy Page was assembling the lineup for what could come to be Led Zeppelin. At the time, Jones turned into already a nicely respected consultation musician, recognized for his versatility and deep musical knowledge. Bonham alternatively changed into a unicooked, unpolished force of nature, a drummer whose sheer power and instinctive groove immediately set him other than the opposition. Jones remembers the moment he first played with Bonham as a revelation. From the primary time we performed collectively, I knew he was unique. He had this raw electricity, but also a superb experience of groove. He wasn't just a loud drummer. He had finesse, he had swing, and that is what made Bonham specific. While many rock drummers of the time relied basically on extent and aggression, Bonham delivered something more. His gambling was a fusion of thunderous beats and complex technical precision, a balance rarely done in rock tune. He wasn't just about brute force. He was a grasp of dynamics, capable of shifting from whispered tender ghost notes to earth-shattering fills in the blink of a watch. Part of what made Bonham's fashion so precise was his deep appreciation for jazz. Unlike many of his rock contemporaries, he didn't simply concentrate to blues and rock and roll. He studied jazz greats like Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa. Their affect was evident in his potential to swing, to play with an handy fluidity that made even the heaviest Zeppelin songs groove. Tracks like Good Times, Bad Times, and Fool Inside the Rain exhibit this ideal marriage of electricity and subtlety, proving that Bonham wasn't just a rock drummer, he changed into a true innovator. Jones and Bonham fast became an inseparable rhythm phase, their chemistry forming the backbone of Led Zeppelin's groundbreaking sound. While Robert Plant and Jimmy Page commanded the highlight, Jones and Bonham had been the muse, locking into grooves that would shake stadiums. Looking back, Jones acknowledges that Bonham's expertise turned into extraordinary. He had this herbal feel, this intuition that you simply cannot teach. He performed from the intestine, and also you felt each single hit. It became this rare mixture of technical ability, uncooked electricity, and musical instinct that cemented Bonham's legacy. Not simply as Led Zeppelin's powerhouse drummer, however, as one of the greatest to ever sit down behind a package. John Paul Jones has again and again emphasized that John Bonham wasn't just about speed or extent. He had an innate sense of sense that made Led Zeppelin's tracks sincerely particular. While many drummers could play speedy or hit difficult, Bonham had an almost supernatural capacity to make the tracks circulate. John had a manner of creating the whole thing groove regardless of how heavy it changed into. Good times, terrible instances, that bass drum paintings, it wasn't pretty much being rapid. It became about making the whole music pass. John Paul Jones. Indeed, Desirable Times, Bad Times changed into an early exhibit of Bonham's technical brilliance, particularly his groundbreaking use of rapid-fire bass drum triplets. But, as Jones points out, it wasn't pretty much speed, it turned into approximately experience. Bonham's drumming did not simply fill area, it drove the music forward with an infectious electricity that made even the heaviest Zeppelin songs swing. Take When the Levee Breaks as an instance. That iconic, cavernous drum sound, it's one of the maximum sampled beats in history, and for suitable purpose. The way Bonham managed the pace and dynamics made the beat experience good-sized, as though the drums themselves had been a force of nature. Similarly, Kashmir is based heavily on Bonham's ability to make a sluggish, stomping rhythm sense monumental. The beat is deceptively easy, yet it consists of the complete music, developing a hypnotic, large-than-life groove. Jones additionally remembers how Bonham's stay performances showcase his unprecedented musicianship. One of the satisfactory examples, Moby Dick, the mythical drum solo that left audiences in awe. People suppose Moby Dick turned into only a show-off of his electricity. However, it became in reality a master elegance in musicality. He by no means performed the same factor twice. He turned into improvising, responding to the power of the room. John Paul Jones. That turned into the magic of Bonham. He wasn't just gambling the drums, he became talking with them. He dealt with each overall performance like a residing respiration thing, adapting and evolving his gambling in real time. Jones firmly believes that Bonham's ability to govern dynamics, reply to the moment, and make even the heaviest beats groove is what surely set him apart. A lot of drummers can hit tough, but Bonzo made it experience desirable. That's why his gambling nevertheless resonates nowadays. Bonham wasn't just a drummer. He changed into a rhythmic architect, a master of groove and the heartbeat of Led Zeppelin. His legacy endures, no longer just in rock records, however, in each drummer who strives to stability power with experience. A terrific rhythm phase calls for extra than just technical ability. It needs a deep musical connection. For John Paul Jones and John Bonham, that connection changed into almost telepathic. From the moment they started out gambling together, their chemistry was plain. We never had to talk tons approximately what we were going to do. It just took place. I ought to change something slightly inside the groove, and he might select up on it immediately. John Paul Jones. This instinctive musical bond is clear in tracks like Rumble On and Dazed and Confused, in which the bass and drums circulate as one, effortlessly weaving Zeppelin's signature heavy yet fluid sound. In Rumble On, Jones's melodic bass line dances round Bonham's dynamic syncopated drumming, growing a groove that feels both laid back and riding on the identical time. Meanwhile, in Dazed and Confused, their interaction builds tension and release, transferring seamlessly between atmospheric and explosive. This deep, rhythmic synergy wasn't something that could be taught. It became pure instinct, the result of musicians perfectly attuned to every different